Hello there and welcome to Live with Sujay, headliners of Hope. And we're coming to you all the way from Wainscott, New York. And I'm here with one of my dear friends. We're both wearing shades of pink today. So we want to give a shout out to all the breast cancer survivors and those who are struggling with the disease. We're praying for you. You're in our thoughts and prayers. But today, Sheri Pascuarella.
Hi, Sujay.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. You're the executive director of the church Sag Harbor.
That's correct.
So tell us what the church does.
Okay.
It's an amazing place.
Well, for many of your listeners or watchers or viewers,
Yes.
when they hear the church, they may think that we are a religious organization, which we are not.
Right.
So the church is a multidiscipline art center located in the heart of Sag Harbor Village that exists inside of a deconsecrated church.
Yes.
So our building was a Methodist church. It was built in 1835.
Wow.
It was moved down to the main part of Sag Harbor, the heart of the village, in 1864.
Okay.
And then it was an actual Methodist church for, most of the 19th and 20th century. And then in the early 2000s, it was deconsecrated. They ran out of money, and our co-founders were able to make a good proposition and snatch it up and lead a renovation and gave birth to a new not-for-profit. And
it's beautiful. Yes, some
so
wonderful
much.
activities where artists basically get to share their art forms, and they're in many forms, literary, the visual arts.
Yes.
And so I was there this summer. We have a couple of pictures. This summer you've had some wonderful things, and we're talking about summer 2024. Some pictures here we have from the church activities. So that's Joy Reid from MSNBC and Maya Wiley, who's also a correspondent. And they were there for a major Sunny Hostin.
Sunny, yeah, she
One
was
of our
great. They're all
Sag
great,
Harbor
actually.
residents,
Really fabulous
authors.
people.
Yeah, and we also have that was Racism.
That was Erase Racism, which was that is the director there of Erase Racism, and that was the event at which Joy Ann and Maya spoke. We
Yes.
also had this summer Colson Whitehead,
Yes.
who was in conversation with Kevin Young, who's
Yes.
tremendous. Kevin is the ED of the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture, and of course Colson Whitehead is, I think, maybe the defining writer of his generation. Certainly,
And he's my neighbor down
Is
the
he
block.
really?
Yeah, down the block.
That's
Yes.
funny. Yeah, well, the
Asheress.
book, he has a great book called Sag
Yes, he
Harbor.
does.
That is a wonderful look outside of the summertime, historically Black beachfront community of
Yes.
Sag Harbor that is such an important part of our village here, our village history, and our
Yes.
village future, frankly.
Exactly. Before
Yeah.
his mother passed, and she was in my living room. We used to do this show in my living room. We had a
that's fun.
film crew,
Oh,
but
wow.
just hearing the history, and he was able to come and just be part of the generations that have come through here.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So, what's been the most exciting thing for you as executive director?
Well, I think the most exciting thing has been creating and helping to create an organization that has a true connection with so many people of so many different backgrounds in the East End community.
Yes.
That's definitely, it's gratifying, it's fulfilling, it's why I came here, it's what I enjoy doing. I mean, there certainly are very fun events. I mean,
Yes.
meeting Colson and hosting him and Kevin. Kevin and I had actually met through Colson's wife.
Okay.
So there was a connection there, but I really believe he's one of the most talented living writers.
Oh, without question.
And so that was tremendous to meet him. We also did a one-man show with Martin Short, the famous comedic actor,
did you
this summer,
really?
and that was also
Okay.
amazing. There's so many highlights.
Yes.
However, at the end of the day, what really makes it deeply exciting is the sense of purpose that it drives in me and in all of the people who are now a part of it, which is vast. We have a large number of community stakeholders. So that's the most exciting part.
But
In
you're
some-
generous also. I mean, you've offered make
you.
sure that the community gets there, which is also important. And you're not only somebody who comes in to do this work, but you're a resident of Sag Harbor.
That's right.
So
That's right.
what's it like being a resident? What brings happiness and hope to you as a resident?
Well, I think that, first of all, it's a really beautiful place to live.
Yes.
Still. Geographically, just physically, in terms of nature and the architecture, the history, it's really very beautiful, which is such a generative thing.
Yes.
It just really heals us. It feeds our souls
Yes.
to be in a place of beauty constantly. So that's huge.
Yes.
The history of Sag Harbor is also something that I find so inspiring, and it is a culturally complex,
Yes.
really nuanced place, and much more than people think about, much more than I was aware of
Yes.
before I moved here from Manhattan 2.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I knew of Sag Harbor. I was born and raised on the east end of Long Island, but on the north side.
Yes.
And so I knew Sag Harbor. We came to the Old Whalers Church
Yes, okay.
as a school field trip when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
But now I think I had a flattened, a less nuanced understanding of what it really is like here. There are just so many people. It's an enormous creative community.
It is.
And
it is.
it's generational, people
Mhm.
have been here for so many, to see families pass houses down.
Yes.
That's really inspiring. And also there's always so much going on.
Always. People think this is a little quiet, quaint town. It is
Yes,
a quaint
and it
town,
is.
but it's a whole lot going on.
Correct.
And you can find something for everyone.
That's
So
right.
you have to, I don't know if you've sat on my bench in front of 42 Main Street.
Yes.
When I became ambassador, they dedicated a bench. You have to take a picture on the bench.
Okay, I
That's part
will.
of the history. But I think what was fascinating for me is I remember the church when it was deconsecrated, but it sat there for the first 5 years or so when I lived here. And then, so whose idea was it actually to make it the church as it is now, the place for artists?
So it changed hands a couple of times
Okay.
before it was acquired by Eric Fischel and April Gornick.
Okay.
It went through private hands. It almost became a single-family residence.
Really?
And if you Google 48 Madison Street, Sag Harbor, you will see very fancy architecture renderings for that being a very deluxe one-family home.
Wow.
Which I think it's too bad. It's a shame for them, but it's an amazing gift to the community that didn't happen. And Eric and April had this vision. They are artists. They are very well known international artists, painters.
Yes.
They moved out here full time in the early '90s after having summered here a bit, coming out over the summer. They were living in New York City, and they moved here full time. So they've been here for quite a while now, and they were very instrumental in the refurbishment of the cinema and the creation of Sag Harbor Cinema as a not-for-profit art house cinema, as everybody experiences now.
Yes.
So Eric and April,
thank them for that.
Yes, they were very instrumental in that, especially April. And so they had this vision for the building, thinking that this would be a great center for the visual arts.
Okay.
The original concept was to build the programming around an artist residency program.
Nice.
Which we still have. We have an artist residency program.
I know a couple of people participated. Yeah.
Do you really? That's fabulous.
Yes.
Yeah. We welcome more than 40 people to Sag Harbor last year.
Okay. Was Nanette one of those?
Nanette was one of our
and we
residents.
had her as a guest.
Nanette is
well.
amazing.
Yes.
Favorite person. She was also in one of our exhibitions.
Yes, exactly.
She's a great artist. And actually, 66% of our artists in residence are people of color.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
which
amazing.
is a really high statistic. So
there's a stained glass window also. Is that a mortuary that's in there?
Oh, so the windows, are you talking about the drawings on the sides of the windows?
Yes.
So that's actually all by Eric Fischel.
Really?
And that is a semi-permanent installation. That means those were drawings that were made into etchings, and they are vinyl on the window. So at some point, they may leave and another artist might create the same kind of cycle. But for quite a while, for the foreseeable future, we are blessed to have Eric's drawings there. And those are called the Saints of Sag Harbor.
Okay.
And we call them the Saints of Sag Harbor because obviously every church has a saint in their windows.
Yes.
And so our saints are people who have lived and worked in Sag Harbor and had rich creative lives that had impacts beyond the local community. So these are people who are sort of globally, and the criteria was that they had to have passed away.
Yes.
They had to create something creative, and they had to have done it on a scale that was sort of monumental. So some of the individuals that are on there are Herman Melville.
Yes.
Amaza Lee Meredith.
Yes.
You know who she is?
Yes,
of course you do.
Meredith. I live on Meredith Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, she was arguably the nation's first African American female architect, and as an architect came here with her sister and built the houses that became the Azurest community,
Yes, which is what my home place, and
is
it's so
enormous.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So who are some of the other?
Langston Hughes.
Oh, Langston Hughes. I
Yeah.
need to come and look closely.
Mhm.
Okay, yes.
Yale Doctorow.
Yes.
James Salter.
Yeah.
Betty Friedan.
Oh my goodness.
George Balanchine. Nelson Algren. Gordon Matta Clark.
Nice.
Daisy Teplin.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I've been to events, so I need to come and just spend some time there. Yeah.
You know, it's great that you say that because we do events really bring people in.
Right.
However, we are free and open to the public year round.
Okay.
Thursday through Monday.
Okay.
And you can just come enjoy the building. We
Mhm.
also have a beautiful library. It's of arts and the humanities. It's a very beautifully curated library. Makes a great space. People can just come. You can stay there all day if you want to.
That's
It's
awesome.
free Wi-Fi, comfortable place to sit, and you can do your research. You could work from there. You could just come and peruse our books.
Wow.
It's
For
a really
events
great
though,
place.
can people rent the space as well?
We do a small number of rentals a year.
Okay.
That's sort of trickier.
Yeah, sure.
We do prioritize the programming that we're committed to as a not-for-profit.
I love it.
And
I love
we
it.
also have to respect our neighbors and the people around us with regards to noise and traffic.
Sure.
But
sure.
having said that, for the right fit, for the right, usually we like to favor other organizations. Rentals are a possibility.
Okay. Okay,
Yes.
but you stick to your programming as your priority.
That's our priority.
Yeah,
That's our
totally.
priority.
So what do you do? So you're Thursday through Monday. What do you do with your free time?
I run the church.
Yes.
When I am not working, it is actually, being an arts professional is far more demanding than I think people sometimes might see think on the
Yes.
surface.
Yes.
Even when I lived in New York City and was a part of the New York art world, I found, and happily so, that most of my social life does correspond to art and the arts because that's my passion.
Yes.
So when I'm not working, I still love to go to explore museums, music,
Yes.
performance, the performing arts.
Oh, I love the
And these are
performing
really
arts.
big parts of my life
Yes.
because I'm sincerely committed to and always curious about these aspects of humanity, of human
I
experience.
love it. I love
It's really
Talk
great.
about your journey to your passion place. Like how did you get to really live the life that you have and the life
That's a
that you
great
love?
question. Thank you for that question. Well, I grew up, as I said, on Eastern Long Island. I was from a pretty modest working class family. My father was what you would call a Sunday painter. He made art and sculpture.
Okay.
And so we had an exposure to it that most people from my background don't have. And as kids growing up, my family couldn't afford to fly on vacations. So our family trips were driving around.
Similarly,
Every
yes.
place, really, every
Yes.
place we drove to, we would go to the museums. So I gained an exposure at a very young age, very uncommon for, most of my kids, most of my
Yes.
peers, most of my friends, their families did not do these kinds of things.
Exactly.
So I knew from a fairly young age that I was interested in contemporary art, and it was a hobby of mine. And then when I got a little older, maybe 17 or 18, I realized that people had careers and professions in the fine arts. And so originally, I'm telling the abridged version. It's a very long story.
Sure, but I love it.
But
though.
originally, I was going to be an arts attorney.
Really?
And I applied for, after doing an undergraduate degree in art history and criticism.
Where were you in school?
And I went to Stony Brook.
Okay,
And I
nice.
did a double major in art history and also biology. I did research biology from the time I was very young and
my
helped pay
goodness.
my way through school.
Yes, yes.
And then after my undergraduate studies, I studied at Reed Hall in Paris, which is a division of Columbia University.
Yes. Oh, how beautiful.
And then I came back here, was supposed to be going to Fordham Law School, and I deferred law school because I wanted to be an art lawyer,
Yes.
and I wanted to see how the art world worked first.
Okay.
So I got a job in a gallery, in a very big, at that time, very blue chip gallery, and sort of pivoted from there. I always kept alive the same curiosities that motivated me to go to law school,
Yes.
which were I really felt like the arts should become more accessible
Thank you.
and more inclusive
Yes.
and less opaque.
Yes.
And I felt that they should be more embraced by more people, and that as an infrastructure, as an ecosystem, it would behoove everybody
Yes.
to make more of an efforts to foster this kind of accessibility and to eliminate this lack of transparency.
Exactly.
The fact I didn't know the word curator because I came from a working class background.
Right.
So one of the very first wonderful mistakes I've made in my life was that I went to FIT, the Fashion Institute of
Yes.
Technology, for one semester because they had a major called Display and Exhibit Design.
Oh
And
my
so I took a
goodness.
break from biology, and I thought, this is where I'm really going to go with my life.
Yes.
So I was doing those classes in school as a student. I went to the art history professor's office hours, and I said, I'm really enjoying doing all of these shop window displays, but when are we going to start working with art and putting art up?
Oh.
And he said, ma'am, you are in the wrong place.
Wrong place.
You need to go to school. You need to get an education in art history. You might need to get a master's, possibly a PhD, but you are not
in the right
going to be learning that here.
I love it.
So goodbye.
Yes.
And that was at the end of the semester. I packed up and moved, and that's how I wound up at Stony Brook.
Okay.
But that
was Joyce Brown president of
She was.
Okay,
at that
so we
time.
were in the 100 Black Women together.
Oh,
When
amazing.
she became the president.
Oh,
of
how
FIT.
great.
Yeah, how amazing.
That's wonderful.
So Donna Barnes, who you know, Donna Barnes, who
yeah.
I know, we were high schoolers together.
Oh, wow.
And when we finished high school, New York City had a similar vision that we should have more accessibility to the arts. And there was a grant for a little while for us students to work, part-time in the arts world. It was only there for a few years, but I like your passion and your heart.
Thank you.
To make it more accessible. So the show is called Headliners of Hope.
Yes.
What are you hopeful about?
Oh, wow. I'm hopeful in the power of human potential.
Ooh, power of human potential. Say more.
Well, I think that we've come to a place in society, especially, the election is on all of our minds.
Yes.
And it's happening in, 2 weeks? Not even?
Not sure. Well, this show probably will air after that,
well,
but still, we're in the season of elections.
Yes, correct. So regardless of what the outcome is, I think we're all understanding that the world where we live in together, has become a really polarized, divisive place.
It has.
And it sometimes feels that there's a certain kind of darkness that comes with that, because there's this extreme black and white.
It is.
Right?
No shades of gray or any other color.
Of nuance. It's just sort of out the window.
Yes.
And that can be really hard to reckon with, to understand the challenges of people coming together as a humanity. And where is that going to lead us? My wife sent me a quote recently from James Baldwin that said that, I'm going to paraphrase, but that love is the solution, and yet love is the least popular choice for everybody right now. That the hate is something more popular than love, which, broadly feels true. So what do we have? How are we going to overcome all of these things that have happened since that time of James Baldwin? It was probably 60 years ago that he said that, right?
It was, yes.
So how do we overcome now this infrastructure that includes the digital age, that includes socioeconomic disparity, all of these things that reinforce this polarity?
Yes.
And I think the best chance we have is human potential, of people looking inside of themselves. For some people, that's their hearts. For some people, that's their minds.
Exactly.
And deciding, I'm here for you. We can make this possible.
And I'm going to be all in with what I have to bring to the table, really.
Exactly.
So we've had some headliners from Sag Harbor, Patricia Sweet-Reed of the Matriarch.
Wonderful.
We've had Barbara Roberts.
Also
so is there a kind of a sistership of sister leaders of Sag Harbor?
Oh, that's a sweet question.
Yeah.
I feel a sisterhood with any female leader.
Okay, I love it.
Because I think it's hard. It's a challenging job, and I think women make really interesting leaders.
Yes.
And I think there's a plurality. I don't think we're all the same.
Right.
I think that people, but I would say, it's not. I'm relatively new here, so I don't know all the leadership of Sag Harbor that well myself yet. I really have.
But what you've done is you've jumped in. I see you at social events, so you didn't stay in your own silo.
No,
You've jumped in with both feet.
That's correct.
And that's really kind of how human potential is developed.
Absolutely.
We kind of bring what we have to the table and let's try to enjoy each other.
Thank you. That's so well said.
Yeah, definitely.
I was walking down Main Street the other day, and I saw this woman. I went to her. Her name was Joan Do you know this woman, Joan Wallace Benjamin?
Yeah. Oh yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
So I was walking down the street, and she didn't remember having met me at the church, and
Yes.
I've met her a couple of times.
Mhm.
And I stopped her, and I said, "I'm reading your book." And I recognize you from the back of your book, and I mentioned that because that's the sort of vibe in Sag Harbor. Like
Yes.
people are so accessible,
Yes.
everybody's out coming around, and this anecdote came to mind because I was reading her book because of her as a model for female leadership.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
she lives in Sag Harbor, although she doesn't have a leadership position in town.
Exactly.
Although there are some really incredible people that I have met since joining here.
And sometimes it's just coffee at Sagtown or somewhere, just having, and
Running
talking.
into people.
Yeah,
in
running
the
into people, talking, and the
Skivonies.
beach. Don't the
Oh,
beach
that's
is our
true.
big place as well. So this is a formula question I ask all of my guests.
Yeah.
A plus B plus C equals success.
Okay.
What's your A, B, and C?
I would say curiosity, perseverance, and ingenuity.
I love it. Curiosity, perseverance, and ingenuity.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. What do you hope your legacy will be? What do you hope people would say about you?
Oh, wow.
I know.
You're going.
I'm going to that place. I'm going to that place.
What do I hope my legacy is? I do hope that people saw me as a great facilitator of the arts who brought people together and made great art happen.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Have you ever performed?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of a secret that I like to do karaoke.
Okay.
I don't think it's a big secret.
Okay. All right. And you're good at it, I must say.
Yeah, so you're one of the people. I'm not shy about it, that's for sure.
Well, they always get me up to start the Aretha Franklin song so we get the party started.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
But I actually was a stage actress and did musical theater for a couple of years between college and grad school. A company called Voices Incorporated, which used the arts to educate. So we would go around to public schools, we would perform, and then we talk with and then also taught kids how to read. A lot of kids.
Wow.
So we had to teach them how to read scripts and all that. So yeah, so I had my little stint in it.
How long did you do that for?
I did it for about 4 years. I went to Emerson College with Donna Maria. We went to high school. It's amazing. Junior high, high school, and college together.
Wow.
But Emerson College focused on the arts and film and television. And so it was there that I fell in love with speaking, public speaking. I had to take a course called oral interpretation. And this teacher, who they said was never moved by anybody, was mesmerized by we had to play the three characters in one scene. We had to be all three of them. And she gave me a standing ovation. And I said, oh, I can make my living doing this.
Oh, how fabulous.
And that's really what triggered my whole love for the speaking world,
So were you ever thinking of becoming an actor?
I was actually, but my parents were very, middle class, conservative, and my mother was a teacher, and they were like, you're not going to Hollywood and, blow this degree, because for them, a degree in acting. So I had to go to Teachers College, Columbia, and get that steady degree. But yeah, I did want to do it. A couple of my friends went to Hollywood, and they're just like amazing actors now. They were willing to kind of go without the meals and whatever it took.
It's a struggle.
Yeah, it's a struggle. I couldn't go that far, but I love being now a little later.
You give it a shot, and it's also a great hobby. You can still put yourself out
exactly.
there.
So
you do still put yourself out in the world in a big way.
And I do short films now, and some things. So I still have the creative juices going, and my time is my own. So I worked for government for a very long time when you couldn't do a lot of outside stuff. So now that I'm in a new season of life and out here in Sag Harbor where the creative juices flow, I'm just like, go for it. Why not?
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's lift this, yes.
My question for you, Sujay, is what have you left to accomplish? Like, what is a dream of yours that you're still on the path towards, but you know you're going to fulfill, but you haven't gotten it yet?
I'm on the path, though. I'm mentoring a group of women leaders who are mentoring another group of women leaders. So I'm like a senior mentor, and they have about 2 more years in this program and like sitting at my feet. And when I see a whole nother generation of women leaders who received from me what they could get or wanted to receive, That's a pinnacle for me. My own children, my sons, are on their paths now, and so seeing them navigate the world, I can see myself in them. But now they have to make their own choices and decisions. So I'm at that place of sage. Might be the right word, where I can sit back and just celebrate kind of the journey, because it was a hard one, you know. Being female, being Black in America, you know, being a single mom for a part of the journey. You know, so I had the school of hard knocks, but I was not knocked down by it.
Right.
So for me, I'm seeing the legacy happen.
So for you, your legacy is helping other female leaders.
Oh yeah,
to
become women.
rise.
My organization is called Women on the World Stage.
Oh, wow.
So that they can go anywhere, be in any room, and know how to enter it and feel comfortable in it.
I love that.
Ooh.
Wow, how long has that organization been around for?
So it's been around about 8 years. I do a retreat each year to take people away who are inner city caregivers. And then we got this grant from Lilly Endowment about 4 years ago for $1.5 million, which allowed me to then.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So pour some real resources into them.
Sure.
And that way I could dream and help them and give them a stipend. So because so many women leaders are broke.
Yeah.
And so now they're on their feet. And for me, that's strength and that's power.
That is really powerful.
Yeah. So you're a good interview. And we're out of time. My guest has been Sheri Pascuarella. And thank you so much,
Thank you,
Executive
Sujay.
Director of the church. And thank you for staying with us. Thank you to my wonderful production team. It's good to see you. See you for the next edition of Live with Sujay.